Hey guys, it's me Mr. 250, and welcome back to Umineko. It's been about 2 days. I'd hope Ronove has those cookies he promised ready. Kyrie called Rudolph out into the corridor. It was obvious that she wanted to talk about something that she didn't want the others to hear. And why do you want to go outside, Kyrie? Just look at, oh man, really? I was like 2 frames away from ending that? Oh, bad timing. Can you just see Rudolph's face? He just had like that frozen look on. He's like, what? So provide a rational reason why you want to go outside? Like, why? Do you want to investigate the crime scene? But that sounds a little bit realistic, but still kind of dangerous. Like, it was only natural that Natsumi was yelling about it being reckless. Because Rudolph had said that he was going to the mansion to get food. Certainly thanks to their fatigue, their hunger was tormenting them. In the beginning they could fight their hunger just fine because of their drowsiness. However, now it just made their minds hazy, since it was still only midday and their bodies felt like they were reaching their limits. The thought of going to the kitchen in the mansion and bringing back some food was certainly attractive. I'm sure you are. You're opposed to anything remarkably helpful. Is this part of Kirie's plan? Well, Rose is different. True, assuming that you could get out tomorrow. Simply getting food once should be sufficient, assuming you get enough.
ようやく寝入ってくれたとこや。熱も高い。しばらくそっとしたってや。
妻の体調があっては座してもいられんか。分かった。外出を許可しよ
う。じゃあ俺たちはさっくりと行ってくるぜ。スピード勝負だ。缶詰は OK だよな。缶切りクレーこっちにあるよな。
はい、缶切りと栓抜きはあります。
ゲストハウスに水道があるから飲み物は不要よね。
Unless, of course, someone poisons the water hole.
10人分もあるんだから好き嫌いは言わせないわ。
よっしゃ、出だって走ってってさっさと持ってこようやないか。傘なんてさせてる暇あらへんで。
じゃあ兄貴、留守番を頼むぜ。
気をつけてな。本当ならば自分も行きたい。男に生まれながらこのような急場で力を貸せぬ長男の肩書きが恨めしい。
I'm just far too important to go outside.
俺らたまには譲って兄貴はのんびりしてろい。じゃあな、夏日さん、タオルの準備でもして待っててくれ。傘はささねえから濡れネズミで帰ってくるぜ。
わかりました。お気をつけて。
Rudolph, Kirie, and Hideyoshi, who were never heard from again, each leaving their brave words behind, left the lobby. Compared to the time Rose and Maria had gone outside, the winds had picked up once again. Rudolph's group of 3 people jogged through the rose garden without umbrellas, holding their guns in a folded cart. If everything had been still and quiet without the wind and the rain, they probably would have kept their ears open and moved with caution. But in this rain, even if some suspicious person was hiding nearby, it would be difficult to notice them. Because of that, it had been Rudolph's plan to instead dash through the dangerous area. If there was a chance that their opponent was equipped with a gun, then walking slowly with their guard up would only make them a target. It was probably correct to decide on swift action.
バラティーヤ、カモがネギしょってきたと思うとるかもしれんで。
頼むぜ。誰も出てきてくれるなよ。
Even as Rudolph and Hideyoshi continued to run, they looked around restlessly, vigilant of their surroundings. Rosa and Maria's deaths had not been caused by a projectile. However, it was easy to suspect that the servants had been killed in such a manner. Will they come flying out of the dark? Or will they take careful aim and snipe from the shadows? Either way, they couldn't relax their tension for even an instant. But even so, when they reached the overhang in front of the entrance to the mansion and escaped the reach of the raindrops, they felt themselves breathing a sigh of relief.
まずは問題なしやな。ローザさんの時とは違う。うかつに手は出せんやろ。
そう信じたいね。キリエ、俺たちが見張ってる間に鍵を開けて。
ええ、SP が2人もついてお屋敷に帰宅だなんて実にエグゼクティブな気分よ。
赤絨毯で召使いのお出迎えがあれば完璧や。
Well, I mean, there are servants in there, and they may in fact be on red carpets.
お出迎えか。あるかもな。用心しようぜ。
Possibly an unwelcoming party. As the two cautiously surveyed their surroundings, Kirie unlocked the entrance with the master key she'd been given.
開いたわ。
行こう。戦闘を頼めるか。俺は背後を警戒するぜ。
了解や。キリさん、わしの影から出ないようにな。ほな、突入するぜ。
方法了解。
Is it break in if it's your own house? Okay.
男の人って何？この状況をちょっぴり楽しんでるでしょ。
諦めろよ。それが男ってもんだぜ。しかし相変わらずひでえ匂いだな。
It felt like the air in the mansion was stagnant with a gloomy silence. And on top of that, It was still thick with the stench from Kinzo's burnt corpse in the boiler room, and they were struck with an uncomfortable desire to leave the mansion.
前方問題ないで。厨房まで一っ走りや。
とっとと済ませて引き上げよう。スーツが親父の匂いで燻蒸されちまうぜ。
The three of them dashed towards the kitchen. And butterflies! Yeah, they're dead. They're very dead. And after they disappeared from the entrance hall, the new witch showed herself there.
まんまと誘い出されたわね。私の罠にまんまと引っかかってくれた。
So I'm a little bit curious about how she lured them out, besides the fact that they needed food. I feel like Kyrie might have something to do with this. The witch grinned. Thinking about it now, no matter how unbearable their hunger had grown. Barely a few hours had passed since Rosa and Maria had been attacked and had lost their lives. In that case, why had they needed to recklessly leave the guest house? Until that question could be dealt with, the only answer was that they had been called out by the witch's magic.
不用心なやつら。もう生きてこの屋敷から出しはしないわ。閉じよう、鍵よ、屋敷よ。
The instant she proclaimed that. The mansion was sealed off in a separate world. Unless their barrier were to be broken, no longer could anyone exit this mansion or enter it. Yeah, they're very dead now.
お見事です。無限の魔女を継承してからまだ半日も経たないのに、それほどまでに魔法を使いこなされるとは。その才能に驚きます。まるであなたは生まれながらにしての魔女のようだ。
だって私、生まれた時か
Yeah,
ら
I
魔
was
女だ
about
も
to
ん。
say that. She kind of was.
あなたは瞬きの仕方を誰かに習うの？私が魔法を使えるのはそういうことよ。
恐ろしいお方だ。
The witch's face twisted with brutality. She just couldn't help looking forward to toying with someone's life again.
さてさて。まずはルドルフとキリエなわけだけど、どんな残酷な殺し方をしてやろうかしら。
失礼ながら先代様より不必要な残酷なる殺害は控えるようご指示を賜っております。そして第4の晩以降は生贄の捧げ方に作法がございます。それには煉獄の7姉妹の力を借りねばなりません。
あら、そうだったの？そういえばそうだったわね。好き勝手に遊べるのはさっきの第2の晩までなのね。つまんないわ。またローザの時みたいに思い切り遊べると思ったのに。でもそれは最後の殺し方という意味でしょ？
と申しますと、
私が何度どれほどの殺し方をしようとも生き返らせて、最後に非分の殺し方に沿えばいいわけでしょ。つまり私がどう遊ぼうと結局は問題ないってことになるわ。こんなに面白い力、誰がおとなしくなんかするもんか。
Her ranting was, for an endless witch, an extremely valid argument. The etiquette deciding the style of killings for the sacrifices of the fourth twilight and onward were represented by things like gouge the head. However, that referred to the way they died in the end. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. She just had to keep on reviving them, and follow rules only when she killed them the final time. Even while Ronobe felt that her innocent cruelty was a fragment of her talent as a witch, he was beginning to notice a naturally brutal side of her.
魔女は見習いが最も残忍と申しますが、本当のようですね。ご随意にと申し上げたいところですが、ここはやはり自重なさった方が賢明でしょう。彼らは銃を持っています。銃のような反魔法力の高い武器は魔女や悪魔の天敵です。
Is that true? Or is he just making that up for Beto? Though then again, if following with what they've said earlier, that would make sense. Assuming they weren't lying to her, every bit of this information we've heard has been only when it's being talked to Eva Beatrice, which makes me think that they may in fact be lying to her just to get her to kill people a little frugally or with more restraint. I don't know. But if what she said before was true, this would fall in line with that, considering that science seems to be the opposite of magic in guns are very, very scientifically inclined. The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who was unexpectedly afraid of guns.
話が違うわ。
Yeah, but then again, in the first game, Beatrice seemed to be very unafraid of the weapon Natsu he was holding.
魔女は弾丸なんか追いかけられてもへっちゃらじゃないのかしら。
いいえ、普通の人間と全く同じように致命傷となります。
I feel like he may not be telling the truth here.
その弱点を蹴取らせないために、多くの魔女は厳重に防御結界や家具の守備によって身辺を固めるのです。
私にその防御結界というのはあるの？
銃弾をも無効にする結界の構築には十分な準備と儀式が必要です。
So basically, we just need to go grab a table and we're invincible, right?
残念ながら今のベアトリーチェ様にはございません。また銃弾を防げるほどの家具の召喚も現在はその準備がありません。
これほどの魔力を持つ大魔女になりながら、それでもやはり鉛玉に怯えなければならないのね。不愉快だけど仕方がないわ。
Could you not? I mean, you have the ability to summon a mountain of cake. Could you not, like, summon just a steel wall in front of you?
となれば、家具を呼び出して私の手足とすればいいわけね。
はい。危険に身をさらさず、家具に全てを任すのもまた魔女の優雅なるたしなみでございます。
I'm not so sure about this, Ronobe.
ベアトリーチェ様は安全なところへお隠れを。
わかったわ。煉獄の七姉妹？誰でもいいわ。適当に二人。
Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call.
嫉妬のレビアタン、ここに。
怠惰のベルフェゴール、ここに。
あんたたちの力を見せてもらうわ。標的はルドルフとキリエ。秀吉はダメよ。さあ、あなたたちがどれだけ残酷な家具なのか、私に見せてみて。
That actually might be pretty smart. I mean, just thinking about it. To save Hideyoshi, maybe so that he can spread the news to everyone else and they would lose their magic power, or their anti-magic power, so to speak.
恐れながら先代様よ
Like
り
leave a
不要なる
witness?
残酷行為は控えるようご命令を賜っております。
でも、先代様のご命令の範囲内でいたぶることはできると思います。それでもよろしいですか？はっ、わかった。それで妥協するわ。簡単に殺してはダメよ。徹底的に追い詰めて死の恐怖を味わわせてから殺すのよ。それでいいのかしら、ロノウェ？
はい。程度をお考えいただければ問題ないかと思います。
なら、お行きなさい。はい、お任せを。
相手は銃で武装しています。あなたたちほどのものならばかわすことはたやすいでしょうが、 もしも当たれば致命傷ですよ。くれぐれも用心を。
ご心配なく、
Is that so?
そのような無様は晒しません。
The two sisters of the seven sisters of Purgatory hid themselves. After bowing, Ronobe also hid himself.
殺し方にまでルールがね。なんで私が先代様に気兼ねしなくちゃならないの？窮屈でつまらない。
As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor Beatrice hung in the hall, she cursed. Didn't they replace predecessor Beatrice's portrait? The three people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Thinking of the possibility that poison had been mixed in, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables, gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. With all of that, there would be plenty for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That would be enough while they waited for the boat. The two men were supposed to be devoted to guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kirie even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to be the cart pusher, and Rudolph and his wife took up the task of guard duty.
これだけあればジョージたちも満腹やろ。帰るまでが遠足や。行くで。
Picnic of death. When Hideyoshi vigorously proclaimed their departure, Kirie frowned, looking as though she was gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, the hall was beyond it.
どうしたキリエ。
チリチリするの嫌な予感がするわ。
Kirie stopped, narrowing her eyes even further.
女の勘か。
In times like this, Kirie's intuition surpassed reason. Rudolph believed that intuition.
ええ、多分私たちは待ち伏せされてる。さっきまではその気配はなかったの。でもたった今感じたわ。たった待ち伏せられた。
なら来た道を戻る義理はねえな。そこに勝手口があるじゃねえか。そっちから出よう。
Unless that's all part of their plan. Rudolph made to unlock the back door. When luggage was carried into the kitchen, it never passed through that part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a slope to carry things in. Surely they would be able to leave through there with the cart.
なんだこりゃ。ってくそ、どうなってんだ。
開かないの？
ああ、壊れてんのかな。びくともしねえぜ。
Rudolph tried various things, using forks and then coaxing it. But the lock was as hard as stone, and didn't even budge.
無理せんと玄関から出ようや。もたもた時間を潰す方が今は惜しいで。
これが罠だってのか。
わからない。用心して。
With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance.
誰だ。
The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolph noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a swarm of gold leaves started blowing, and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold glow. Color. Even.
信じられん。人間ごときが我らの待ち伏せを予見したか。
私のせいじゃないわよ。気配は消してたもん。
躊躇しないで。撃って。
The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magic defense the two had as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the figures of those two which should have been there had disappeared. Certainly guns were frightening objects for them. But there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those.
ちょっと気配を消してたもん。名乗りも上げさせないつもり？
But your name's right there. Why do you have to say it? Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting.
ベアトリーチェ様のご命令により貴様らを撃つ。時間をかけてホフレトのご命令だ。抵抗は自由。されど無駄と知れ。
Well, don't tell them your entire evil plan. It's like a bad Scooby-Doo villain. That voice came from overhead. Not Scooby-Doo, just a bad evil genius just spouting off his entire plan. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile.
なんなんやこの姉ちゃんたちは。
台車は忘れて。相手は2人よ。3回すれば全員を追うことはできないわ。
That sounds like a really bad idea. All three of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In the case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in separate directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape.
36系逃げるが勝ちだぜ。
The three of them escaped into the depths of the mansion at full tilt. The two furniture calmly watched them go.
私は女の方をやるわ。あんたは男。
了解した。
I think that's a decent spot to stop. We'll resume the chase next time. I do find it interesting that they didn't mention anything about killing Hideyoshi, and I still kind of think that he might be reserved as a witness to run back and tell them of what happened. Because certainly, if they had a witness account like that, it would probably make them doubt. It would make them believe in witches more, or at the very least they would doubt Hideyoshi, which would make him very untrusted and cause them to divide even more. Basically what Beatrice wants. Beatrice anyway. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more Umineko. Bye.